Rick, come on and sit down so we can start.
It was one game.
Hey, we need to talk about that later. Meeting's called to order. Thanks, everyone, for coming. Crystal, do we have a quorum, please?
Mayor Moss is present. Councilmember Eric Contreras is present. Councilmember Gillian is absent. Councilmember Runabout present. Mayor Pro Tem Young present. And Councilmember Crummell present.
Thank you. Would we all please stand? Associate Pastor Brooks Leonard is going to come and give us the invocation, please. Welcome.
Mayor Moss, Council, thank you so much. I'm honored to be here. Would you pray with me? Holy God, giver of life, you are great and highly praised. We welcome you into this place today. Your greatness is unsearchable. You are righteous in all your ways and faithful in all your actions. You hear the desire of the humble and you strengthen their hearts. We ask your blessings on the people who have been called to lead this community. Help them as leaders to not ask first, how do we fix this, but what do we need to learn? How might we need to change? And to whom do we need to listen? Remind them that they're not only leaders, but also servants, and that it is their responsibility and ours to serve the common good of all. Spirit of truth, I pray that you will guide this council as they meet and discuss matters with regard to our city. I pray that they would choose to do that which is moral and rational. I pray that their motivation in everything they want to do is for the good of the public and not their own. I pray that they'll be able to solve our city's problems and make good policies that address them. Help them to be excellent in their governance. In the scriptures, you've said that citizens ought to obey the governing authorities since you have established those very authorities to promote peace and order and justice. Therefore, I pray for our mayor and the various levels of city officials, and in particular, this assembled council. I'm asking that you would graciously grant them wisdom to govern amid the conflicting interests and issues of our times, a sense of the welfare and true needs of our people, a keen thirst for justice and righteousness, confidence in what is good and fitting, the ability to work together in harmony even when there is honest disagreement, and personal peace in their lives and joy in their task. I pray for the agenda set before them today. Please give an assurance of what would please you and what would benefit those who live and work in and around our beloved city. Lord, hear our prayer. In your faithfulness, listen to our plea, and in your righteousness, answer us. Amen.
Thank you. Would you please join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you again. Our first item on the agenda is to approve the city council minutes of August 22nd, 2023. Do we have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion that we approve the city council meeting minutes dated August 22nd, 2023.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Item number 2 is a public hearing to consider a request for change in rezoning of PD Plan Development District for Red River Development Single-Family Dwelling, subdivision of Country Hollow of 19.16 acres, John H. Phelps Survey, abstract number 1046, City of Willow Park, Parker County, Texas. Bill, or is that Tony?
That'd be Tony.
Tony.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is for a plan development change for the Country Hollow subdivision that is for single family, for existing architectural plans to accustom them to the lots that are there, for the new home builder of History Maker Homes, who is to purchase and develop the subdivision. The Planning and Zoning Commission has conducted a public hearing. There were 68 notices sent out to the property owners that were surrounding by mail. That was on August 15th. We had no public comments at that meeting. The commissioners approved and amended the PD with a 3-to-1 vote, and the staff recommends approval of the rezoning request for the planned development of Country Hollow as presented. Rob McLean, the developer for History Maker Homes, is here with a presentation, and also Anthony Milbitz from TMP Engineering is here to answer any questions.
Okay. Council, do we have a motion, please?
Public hearing.
Yeah.
Public hearing.
We just need to close public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Public hearing is closed at 6:05 PM. Item number 3 is to adopt an ordinance of the City of Willow Park, Texas, providing for a zoning change of PD Plan Development District for Red River Developments, single-family dwelling subdivision of Country Hollow, 19.16 acres, situated within the John Phelps Survey, abstract number 1046, City of Willow Park, Texas, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for a severability, and providing for an effective date. Ms. Tony.
Mayor and council, a couple of things I did want to point out to you in this, of the changes that were made in the PD, the maximum height being one of the ones to go from 30 to 35 feet. Comparing to the reserves that we already have, that is also 35 feet, so we're not changing by the Shops of Willow Park Reserves also has that same. And then the front yard setback, we changed it in the PD from 25 to 20 feet, and the reserves is 15. So it's a little bit more than that. The maximum coverage, the lot coverage by structure, we've got some lots in there that are a little bit odd-shaped, and so they had to make some concessions as far as what the lot coverage was going to be on those. And so originally, they had proposed 60% across the board, but we adjusted that to specifically which lots were going to have to be changed. So we went ahead and addressed that as well. The rest of it, it looks overwhelming. There's a lot of the things that are omitted from it, but it was really just cleaning it up and making it more concise, and some of the items in it were antiquated. The roof pitch isn't the same as it is built now, so things like that were made a little bit cleaner. So, and then they're going to...
Tony, the lots remain the same size?
That's correct.
As
Yes.
the original
Yes.
first plan
The
development?
5,000 square feet.
Correct.
Item 12 on there, minimum masonry coverage. Has that changed at all, or has that always been 100%?
I'll let the presenters here kind of address to that, but really all it did was, it's still 100% masonry on the sides. It was, I believe, just the chimney and pretty much like over the patio that changed. But all 4 sides are still masonry.
Okay. Good.
Any other questions for Tony? Do we have a motion, please?
Do you want Mr. Maker to do the presentation?
Pardon?
Mr. Maker has a presentation.
Sure.
Yeah.
Don't want to slow down the process, but we'll make it quick for y'all. Rob McLean, 1038 Texan Trail, Grapevine, Texas. Thanks for having me tonight. Director of Development for History Maker Homes. If you're not familiar with our company, we're a nearly 75-year-old private home builder that's been in Texas since 1949. We try to pride ourselves on being the oldest privately held, family-owned builder in the state of Texas. And glad to be here. Do I have a clicker, or are you going to click for me? Okay, thank you. Just a couple slides just to kind of summarize what we're trying to do. Click. There you go. Awesome. That worked. Hey, that worked great. It worked better if I had the remote. Just a little bit about us. We're kind of spread out all over the Metroplex, but we like the Fort Worth and the suburbs of Fort Worth, which you guys are kind of the perfect fit for who we are and where we want to be. Just to kind of give you a taste, we're also in the Houston, just opened up a market in San Antonio. So we are growing and well-equipped to handle a site like this with efficiency. We plan to get started. Just to give you kind of our intentions of schedule with development as soon as December, with the 12-month kind of horizontal development schedule, and then move right into vertical construction. And I imagine within 18 months we'll be built and sold out from then. So I say that people typically tend to care, like, how quick are we going to get in, or is it going to be this long, drawn-out development process for the neighboring homes around us? We plan to get in there and out pretty quick with kind of a minimal long-term effect to the neighboring residents. And make the improvements and get out and let people live there. Click. So this is kind of the site plan in general. If just to refresh everyone, over to the right, Tony already did a good job at just kind of summarizing, kind of in large part, what the PD revisions and amendments we were trying to make from the original PD, mainly just to fit our product. It is smaller lots, and with that front setback, pushing up to 20 feet gives us more room to give people more backyard space. Our two-story product has the 35-foot height requirement. I'm trying to think of anything else that's in there. Essentially with your masonry requirements, sir, we intend to be 100% masonry with the exception of where we have load-bearing facades, where a two-story might angle down onto a first story, and there's just sections on kind of the overhang on the patios. It'll be horizontal kind of hardy board siding, cementitious fiberboard. It really won't be too exposed to the exterior of the houses, certainly not on the fronts, and just on the sides and the rears where that's needed. But it's a minimal. I think at max it's 3% if you had to add it up.
Okay.
So, click. There were some questions we had from P&Z at our last session. Just what are y'all planning for kind of entry monumentation, and what are you planning for around the ponds? And we wanted to kind of just bring conceptually what we were kind of envisioning for this, and there's not much room for entry monumentation on this site given where it's at, but we wanted to make the most of it. And so that's what we kind of envisioned right there at the entrance to the northwest entrance of our site. And then click. Yeah, and then these are the ponds. And so we are planning on paying fees in lieu of dedicating park space to the city's park fund. But with that said, we still wanted to make the detention ponds look pretty. And so I think this is an upgrade to what's out there with the existing detention ponds in the existing neighborhood. We'll add irrigation and grass and some trees around there to kind of, there's neighboring houses, if you're looking at the plan, just on the other side of those trees. And so we don't want to come in there and be a hindrance to the aesthetics and what's around them. So we wanted to improve and enhance that. And I think this shows our intentions to do that. Click. These are just some pictures and they're not renderings. I mean, this is what we build just down the street in one of our West Fort Worth neighborhoods on our one-story plans. And then click. And then these are our two-story plans. And so this is what our product will look like when it's out there. If you can see, a great example is the windows above the garage, where that's a kind of a load-bearing section where we wouldn't be able to do masonry, but it'll be the cementitious fiberboarding there. Click. Yeah, thank you. So happy to answer any other questions y'all might have.
You say you'll start building in the fall?
We would, yes, sir. Our contractually, we're set to close in November on the property, and we're about 99% done with engineering as it is, and so we think we can start development in December.
Okay. Good luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
Any questions?
Just want to say thank you for those trees between the retention ponds and
Okay.
the existing neighborhood. That was something I brought up
Okay.
in February, so thank you very much for that.
Okay. Yeah, you bet.
Thank you. Do we have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the request for a change in rezoning of PD Plan Development District for the subdivision of Country Hollow, City of Willow Park, Parker County, Texas, as presented.
Second. I'm sorry?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Item number 4, to approve an interlocal agreement with Parker County for road repairs in Precinct 4. Bill?
Council, this is an agreement with the county, with Parker County. They will come in and do work on our streets. And we have to buy the material, of course, but at least they are doing the work for us. And they've already, as you'll see in the next agenda item, they've been on Emsley, and I think they've done a very good job up there on that road. But this is the agreement that they can come in and work on streets that council chooses for the county to work on. So we need this agreement to start the process.
Okay, any questions for Bill, or do we have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve an interlocal agreement with Parker County for road repairs in Precinct 4.
Second?
Second.
We'll let Nate take it.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Item number 5, to approve an addendum with Parker County for road repairs on Emsley Road in Precinct 4. Bill?
And this is Emsley Road that I was talking about. This will be the first addendum, and each road then you would see an addendum, and here is the cost to the city to do that project. And this is a very good partnership with the city and Parker County.
Now, one time we had an interlocal, is that right?
You probably, yes. That would not have been unusual. You probably did.
We do, after speaking to someone over at the county, this should be done annually, so they're gonna have it on their books. And now that it's in our system, I'll have a tickler to say, hey, are we gonna renew this?
I knew we did. Okay, good. Okay, do we have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve an addendum with Parker County for road repairs on Emsley Road in Precinct 4.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Next item, to approve an amendment to the interlocal agreement between Parker County and the City of Willow Park for dispatch services. Chief?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So this is the first addendum to the interlocal agreement that we had with the Parker County Sheriff's Office to provide dispatch services for the city. So last year, the amount that we paid was $77,048, and this addendum is making our services go up to $91,967. This is the first addendum, I believe, of 3 that they will be adding. So each year, the cost of the dispatch services will go up, and this is the current rate that they want to go up to this year. This addendum is $91,967. This will allow us to continue to use the sheriff's office for our dispatch services.
Okay, any questions for the chief?
What's the percent of increase for that?
I believe,
26%?
yes.
Okay, sorry. I see. Thank you.
Any other questions, or do we have a motion, please?
Well, I guess if Brian were here, I'd have the question. I don't know, Bill, it seems like when we discussed this last year, it was a significantly higher step that we were going to be looking at each year, and this is much lower than what we talked about potentially needing. So
Yes.
obviously, we've negotiated and gotten it down to,
Yes. Originally, it was going to be a big bump from 70,000 to, I believe it was 250,000. So this is slow steps to get up to that amount.
okay. So it sounds like some of our discussions resulted in these
Yes.
numbers that are still 26%, but much better than
Still doable, yeah.
200+%.
Okay, do we have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve an amendment to the interlocal agreement between Parker County and the City of Willow Park for dispatch services.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Next item, to adopt an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Willow Park, Texas, rescinding and repealing Article 802, minors of the Willow Park Code of Ordinances, which established a juvenile curfew, providing a severability clause, providing a savings clause, providing for an effective date. Chief?
So this year, the Texas legislature passed House Bill 1819, which basically prohibits a political subdivision from having an ordinance imposing a curfew on minors. Because they passed this House bill, then our curfew ordinance is no longer valid. So this ordinance is to repeal that ordinance and take it out of our code of ordinance.
Kind of an update of the ordinance, or to change it,
To repeal it,
repeal it.
yes.
Okay.
Have we ever had to utilize that ordinance in the past?
We have. It was, I wouldn't say we used it a lot, but we did have curfew violations quite often that we would enforce at after midnight, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning.
We're way past that, aren't we, Bill?
Oh, we've already had a night's sleep by then.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we pass an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Willow Park, Texas, rescinding and repealing Article 8.02, minors of the Willow Park Code of Ordinances, which established a juvenile curfew, providing a severability clause, providing a savings clause, providing for an effective date.
We have a motion. Do we have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Item number 8, to adopt an ordinance of the City of Willow Park, Texas, repealing and rescinding the previous noise ordinance contained in Chapter 8, Offenses and Nuances, Article 803, Noise, and amending the Code of Ordinance of the City of Willow Park, Texas, Chapter 8, Offenses and Nuances, by adopting a new Article 8.03, Noise, providing definitions, providing applicability, providing offenses, providing for the authorization of temporary noise permits, providing for an appeal of the denial of a temporary noise permit, providing for a penalty not to exceed $500 for violations, and that each day during or on which a violation occurs shall be deemed a separate offense, providing a severability clause, providing a cumulative repealer clause, providing for publication, providing for engrossment and enrollment, and providing an effective date. Chief.
So this is basically it's I would say a new noise ordinance. The previous noise ordinance was hard to enforce. It was complicated. Some of the language in that ordinance kind of contradicted other parts of the ordinance. So this ordinance kind of simplifies it a little bit more. The violations really haven't changed much. It's still the same decibel level for the times. Those have not changed. It just makes the ordinance where we can actually enforce it. So if we have somebody that's in violation of the decibel level, or if they're causing a nuisance, then we can actually enforce it with this ordinance, when the other ordinance made it a little bit more complicated and the language was just not very, very simple. This ordinance simplifies that, and it also allows for the business to get permits. They can get up to 6 permits a year to have, if they want to have a concert or something, then they can apply for it through the permits and get approved for the permit to kind of help with the noise disturbances that we have been reported to us. So I think this ordinance makes it a lot more simple, and it also will repeal the old ordinance, and then it replaces it with this new ordinance.
Very good.
Thank you.
Okay, any questions for the chief, or do we have a motion, please?
Question, under section 8.03.007 penalties, I don't see in there where if someone or a entity were to get a fine, how quickly they would have to pay that, or if there's a penalty for not paying it.
The fines are, it's basically the same as getting a citation. It's up to $500. So that is taken up through the court, the municipal court. So they would basically be issued a citation. And then that goes to the municipal court, and they make the arrangements with the court at that point to decide whether they want to go to court or if they want to pay the fine. And anything after that, if they failed to pay the fine, then I believe the court would have other fines or other adjustments to that at that point. But this would be just a fine for up to $500, and that fine is set by the municipal court.
So hypothetically speaking, if someone or an entity were to rack up several fines in a row and not address them, what would happen?
The court would have to decide whether they wanted to issue warrants for that person or if they wanted to go through I believe they have a collections agency that they go through to get fines. So they would have those two different avenues that they would have to go through.
Okay.
It's like a traffic ticket,
Yes, sir.
similar to the,
Yes, sir.
Council, they're also under item B, under penalties, gives us the ability to seek an injunction in district court. That, if we got a business or somebody who, they pay $500 and say, that's fine, we can still seek injunction against them in district court to prevent noise violations.
Okay.
thanks, Chief. Any other questions, or do we have a motion, please?
Do we need to read the caption again, or did the fact that Joel read it at the beginning?
No, I think that's fine.
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance as read by the mayor.
That saves us 30 minutes. We have a motion.
It was red.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you, Mayor.
Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, to adopt an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Willow Park, Texas, adopting a comprehensive fee and rate schedule for the following enterprise fund utility rates. Services charges for fiscal year 23-24, including water impact fees, water tap fees, wastewater impact fees, wastewater tap fees, drainage impact fees, utility deposit fees, water base rates, water volumetric charges, wastewater rates, solid waste rates, additional utility service charges, and water meter cost, amending various city ordinances and containing a severability clause and an effective date. Michelle?
Council, I gave you a real quick brief. This is actually still the same as what NewGen presented to us at the last council meeting. So the sewer rates, so we're proposing to go from $20 to 24, no, I forgot,
80.
24.80, yeah. And then for businesses, 31.74. So I've given you a breakdown of the multifamily there, what that's going to cause their base rate to go up to. Also, Candy and I met, we had discussed about making some other changes. Since we're in here making changes, we figured we'd do them all at once. So for garbage-only accounts, right now, we don't collect a deposit, and then we usually get left with the final bill. So we're asking that y'all go ahead and create a deposit on those accounts. We've also would like to create a separate category, if you will, of residential rental property, because they usually end up with bigger bills that we end up left with. Oh, the other deal is this is something kind of new to me that's happened a couple times in the past 6 months, where the guys have been called out to do after-hour non-emergency disconnects. And the example I can give to you to kind of explain this is the hospital had a leak on their side a couple months ago. We got called out because they didn't want to turn their valve off, but when our guy got there, he was not ready. They were not ready to shut the water off, so our guy, because it was too far to drive home and come back, he ended up on site for 4 hours. So that pulls that guy out of commission for us for that 4 hours. So that's kind of what that fee is. It's for him to, if they're sitting there, that's what we're charging that fee for, is him sitting there. So other than that, there's not really anything that's changed.
This is
So-
just to recoup our
This
costs,
is just-
is what we're doing here in those situations. Also, council, be aware that this is to make the sewer fund hold, and it's over a 3-year plan. That we're not going back just this year, but it'll be over a 3-year period to look at the rates, raise the rates if needed, to make the sewer fund whole. The water fund the water rates will remain the same for this year, but this helps the enterprise fund, and this is what we're needing to do to make it whole.
Okay. Any questions for Michelle? Or do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt an ordinance of the City Council of Willow Park for comprehensive fee and rate schedule as read by Mayor Moss.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Thank you, Michelle and Candy. Next item, to approve a resolution appointing a voting member and alternate to the Wholesale Water and Wastewater Customer Advisory Committee. Is that you, Bill?
It's me. Yes, we have to do this on an annual basis for representatives to the Fort Worth Board, Water and Wastewater Board. In the past, Brian Grimes has been serving in this, and after discussion, we decided to put Michelle as the main one, and Gretchen Vasquez would be the alternate on this. So we're asking for your approval on that.
Okay. That's pretty easy. Do we have a motion, please?
I move to approve a resolution appointing a voting member and alternate to the Wholesale Water and Wastewater Customer Advisory Committee as presented.
That's Michelle and Gretchen.
Correct.
Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, good. Any other questions, or do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Thank you. This time we'll be going into executive session. Section 551071, consultation with attorney, Half and Associates litigation, and Section 551074, personnel matters, city secretary review. We're going into executive session at 6:32 PM. Mr. Contreras. We're coming out of executive session at 8:15 PM. The order of business was personal matters, city secretary review, and we have a motion by Mr. Contreras, who said he was ready.
I will make a motion that for our city secretary to receive a 5% increase for the budget year of 2023 through 2024, which makes that,
That's all, thank you.
Second.
which
We have a
makes
motion.
that a great secretary.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Crystal.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor comments, thanks everyone for your cooperation tonight. I'm happy to work with you guys. It's, sometimes it takes us a while to get on the same page, but we do. So thank you for that. Do you have any comments for Mr. Grimes? Thank you.
He did tell me just about 2 minutes ago, Bearcats won.
Oh, good.
I thought, what is not, oh, it's the kids playing, okay. Any council comments?
Yes, I'm very excited that our road progress is increasing again, and our roads hopefully will be open very soon. Very excited for them, so, and continuing to do more and more.
I agree, I concur. Anything else? Motion to,
Is, just a minute,
I'm sorry.
is there going to be a decision about September 26th, or are we waiting for that?
I'll get Mr. Grimes to make a decision on it the next day or so.
Okay.
We'll be in touch. We will probably cancel the 26th, but Brian will be in touch with everyone. Motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Yep.